Is it better to live abroad in your 20s, 30s, 40s? I've been asked this question quite a few times, and having lived abroad in different stages of my life, I can tell you it is completely different. Not only have I lived abroad, I grew up in Brazil, I lived in China for 5 years, now I've been in Colombia for more than 4 years, but I've also visited over 30 countries in the world. And I can tell you, even just traveling is completely different depending on the stage of your life that you are. Living abroad might not change who you are, but it does change depending on when you do it. Your priorities, your energy, and what you're looking for are very different in your 20s compared to your 40s, for example. In your 20s, living abroad feels like pure discovery. You have more energy, fewer responsibilities, and a lot more tolerance for uncertainty. You say yes more easily to trips, new friendships, and uncomfortable situations. And I even remember backpacking in Europe in my 20s. It was very relaxed. I could just go, wake up, sleep late, wake up early, meet people, go anywhere. I had few responsibilities. I could sleep in hostels, but that changed a bit when I turned 30. In my 30s, I moved to China in 2015, where I spent 5 years there. China is a completely different culture, and the first thing you notice is culture shock. When you are in your 30s, you are still more willing to adapt to everything, even culture shock, even the language barrier, and a bit of chaos. When I lived in China in my 30s, I was willing to adapt to a totally different culture, learn the language, adapt, and try out different things from this completely different country. I'd also say that social lives come much easier when you're in your 20s and early 30s. Making friends in your 20s is easier, you're more open, more flexible, and less selective. You don't mind shared apartments, unstable routines, or temporary relationships. It's all part of the adventure. And even though in my early 30s, when I moved to China, I shared an apartment for my first year with other teachers there, I felt like I needed my own space. And in my second, third, fourth, and fifth year in China, I lived on my own, had my own privacy, and had my own comfortable routine. In your 40s though, living abroad requires a bit more stability. You want some more comfort. You're not going to be saying yes to everything. And you're also going to value other things like good healthcare system, for example. You care about comfort, health, and routine. The excitement is still there, but the tolerance for chaos is much lower. Living in Colombia in my 40s, I can say it's very different than living in China in my 30s. First of all, here, now when I'm 40, and I know I want to have a life here, settle down here, at least for now. I know that how language is important. So the language barrier I had in China is different now here. I don't have to be in an expat bubble. I can make friends. I have my friends who are 95% Colombians, and I can talk to them. I don't need anybody to help me going to the doctor or accessing the healthcare system, bank system, or anything. So this is much more, now in my 40s, I really value this. I also value a very comfortable apartment where I live. I value that I have easy access to public transport, but I can also take, an Uber and go anywhere. I value that I do live in the capital city, in Bogota, and I have these things here easy for me. I also choose where I want to go. So it's different like when you are building, let's say, your life abroad, when you're super young and you say yes to everything. It's different when you're 40. You want to feel like you are kind of like at home, and you want to feel like you have a support system, not only friends, temporary friends that you're going to meet in a hostel. And speaking of friends, in your 40s, well, it is harder to make friends. However, I think that the kind of friends that I want now are not like a big group of expats, for example. I want fewer friends, but friends I can count on. Friends I know that are going to be there for me. I'm going to be there for them. And like a better support system here. It's also important to make sure that I have time to keep in touch with the friends I have who don't live here, who live back in Brazil and all over the world. So these, as I got older, I think these friendships, the real true friends, became even more important for me. In your 40s, you also think more about work, income stability, and the future. It's not only about just having a job, it's about pension, savings, and long-term security. All in all, I'd say that in your 20s and early 30s, perhaps, you have more risk, more freedom, more trial and error. While in your 40s, you have more boundaries, more clarity, and more intentional choices. I believe that living abroad in your 20s, early 30s will help you discover the world, will help you see that there is a whole different country, a whole different region, with a completely different mindset, sometimes a bit of culture shock here and there. And this will help you understand the world, understand that things don't only work the way they work back in your home country, meet people from completely different backgrounds. And this exchange, this cultural exchange, will help you and will shape you, I believe, in your 20s and 30s. Now, in your 40s, living abroad helps you understand yourself. You already have clear boundaries. You already know where you want to go, what do you want to achieve. Well, maybe you don't know that, but things might be clearer for you when you're in your 40s, and you are not going to be willing to say yes to any adventure and let's go. You're still going to be open, hopefully, to culture shock, to different relationships, to different culture, but it's going to be more of like, I know what I want, or at least I know what I don't want, and I know where I want to go. And that's going to make your experience in your 40s or 50s a bit more different. I believe the key is not when you live abroad, but it's why you live abroad. There is a reason why you leave your house, you leave your home country, you leave everything, your family and support system behind to go and live in an experience abroad. It might be in your 20s, in your 60s. It's important to know, why are you leaving? What are you looking for? What is your aim? What is your goal living abroad? And these questions are going to help you understand yourself and what is the stage of your life you're in, and what's going to be the best experience, what's going to be the best stage. That's what you got to ask yourself at the end of the day.